Yeah, thought I had a recording. I noticed before people take chisels and chisel this part, this dust shield off here, that actually hooked up to the bellows of that drive shaft, and so I took a Sawzall and went along here, just a Sawzall with a fine tooth blade there. One on both sides. It seems to be loosened up a little bit, but with one hand in the camera and one hand on a screwdriver, I guess I'm just going to trust that it's going to come off. Actually, I can wiggle it, so it seems to be pretty good. Actually, I can't. Yeah, I can. I can wiggle it back and forth. So trust that it's loose, okay? The next one will be taking this chunk off. I took the drive shaft off. I'm going to have to take the front drive shaft off, and I think I'll do that after I get this seal and this dust shield out of the way. Well, back at it here. My progress so far, I got this snap ring off of there, sitting over there in the pile of wrenches and bolts and pieces and parts, and got the speedometer gear out of here, speed sensor, that's out of there, that's sitting right there, and it's a yellow gear 30 on this. I think I'll just leave it alone. My next step, well, the next step I got is I did get this, yeah, there you go, there it is, the yoke off the shaft. There, it's sitting right there, over there by a bunch of other tools, and tool rich, and I'm poor. So anyway, got all it ready to, actually I'm going to take these, I think it's about 6 or 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts out, I believe, of this, and I think they're 10mm heads wrench. So I'm going to take that off and then pop that off of there first, and then I'm going to, after I get that all out of the way and everything the way I like it, then I will start taking these bolts off for the case half. They're 15. I guess I'll have to go out to the shop and find a 10mm 12-point socket, because all I got is 6-point sockets in those Tecton tools. That's one bad thing about the Tecton tools. They don't come with 12-point sockets, but so far I have no complaints about the set. That would be the only one thing I would have. So there you go, getting closer. Okay, to the point, I got the back housing off. You can see this oil pump right here. That's what hooks to this spline, where the splines start on the internal part. And then I did measure this here shaft rail, shifter rail. That is under an inch, so I'm okay in the 4-wheel drive low position. And got all the bolts out, I hope. Yep, what I can see, there's a black bolt up here. There's a 10-point up here on this one. Guess I'm doing it more for my own reference. And then there's another black bolt over here. The black bolts are just a touch longer, and they have washers on them. The rest of them don't have washers, so kind of weird, kind of different, but I guess that's what they want. And just trying looking at these black bolts, I don't see really any big difference on them, except they have washers. And then here's the other bolt here, and then that 10-point one, a nice long one compared to the rest of them. So anyway, sorry for the great camera action here. So trying to figure out how to get these things split apart. There are spots by where the black bolts were, I guess, some pry spots, but not really seeing them. I'll have to do some looking around at it and see if I can get a screwdriver in there and give it a little bit of help. The only other thing I could think of is just to take the hammer handle end and kind of thump on the front input shaft, because here's the back of the input shaft. That might help pop it loose a little bit too. So I don't know. See what happens here. Next time you'll see me, hopefully I have this apart. I'll take a video and the thing inside here. I'm gonna my goal is to leave the shaft inside, but to grab the back half of this case and the case and the oil pump, take that out in one unit, and then get that cleaned up and stuff, and then get the case cleaned up and start to get the shaft out here first, get that the gears transferred onto the new shaft and get the new shaft back in, and then hopefully get the oil pump and the case put back together, and then slide the at that point, then after that's done, is get the part back onto the back part, the new part, back on here, and get it all buttoned back up. Hopefully, cross my fingers. It really hasn't been all that bad. I'm slow, so I don't really care. I mean, I'm not like I'm getting paid for this job. It's my vehicle, and just going along, and it's taking my time so I don't mess up. I'm back at it here again. I got the back case half off, and looking inside here, it's really nice and clean. Doesn't look like I need to do much cleaning except for the gasket surface, and I'm going to put RTV on there very sparingly, because I really don't need that much. I did pull off a little bit of RTV that was on the inside of the case. I've seen videos that they've pulled out. I think the one that Terraflex had, somebody must have just got the crap out of that case, and there was all kinds of stuff that was in the screen down here. There's a magnet that goes down right here that looked good. I turned the bearing here. I don't feel anything that warrants replacing it. I looked at the needle bearing on the other side and other part of the case, and that looked good. It's ready. Once I get the crud off of here, and I think I'm just going to take a dry rag and kind of rub that stuff off. It just kind of peels off, and that's what I'm going to do there. Here's the rest of it on the bench. This is the little seal that comes with the kit. Pull that one off, and there's the snap ring here somewhere, right here, I believe. Yep, right on this side. Oh, it turns. How about that? Right here on this side, that I got to get that off of there, and then I can slide, I believe, everything off the back side of this shaft here, and everything will be golden. Something that's kind of neat here, I was wondering how in the world did they seal off the as far as oil pressure and stuff. And in here there is on that suction tube, there's an O-ring in there. Trust me, there is. It's a little hard to see. There's this sealing surface right here. You can see where that has been riding. This seal from the pump has been riding on here, and I believe that the pressure comes out of this little spot right here and comes out and goes into these holes here, which feeds different things along the line here, and then this way too. I'm not sure how far those holes go into here or not, but looks like they do a pretty decent job of that. One of the things that kind of puzzled me here a little bit too on the drive gear here is, without the drive gear, is, this one's metal. The other one that comes with it is a blue one, and that seems to be much larger diameter, but they must have done something with their tail housing where the speedometer sits to make that work out. I'm sorry, I gotta figure things out. Now, looking at this chain, yeah, I'm not sure how badly worn the chain is, but this is really pretty easy to get into. I'm just going to see if I can get some more miles out of this chain or not. But maybe I should have replaced it. I don't know. Everything else seems to be in really, really good shape in here. There doesn't seem to be any grinding on the not really a synchro, but a mesh, the teeth where they mesh. I left everything alone in the case itself, so I'm just going to leave that there. I'm just going to do a little cleaning on this, do a little cleaning on the outside here. Here's the tube, pickup tube. That is, it has just a very little bit of dirt in it, but so very little. I'm going to clean it out, but one of the things too that kind of concerned me, you see people put this thing in and you really wonder how that actually stays in here, because that just fit into that O-ring, and then there's this shoulder that keeps the O-ring from coming out. You really wonder how that stays. The only thing I can think of is the low pressure this pet pump develops just keeps it up in there. I don't know. It does want to kind of always push to the top, so I would have thought that they would have had something a little bit nicer here for holding that up. But now I can't sleep at night. I'll worry that my tube is loose in the pump. So there you go. Pretty much it. Next thing you'll see is me trying to put this all back together. Yep, got everything pretty much ready to go. I have the gears on that shaft, put that on. The snap ring going on there was a little tough. I really hoping I got that seated in there well. It looked like it was, so should be fine. Got this back up in the where it's supposed to go, all the way in to the shift collar up there, and it looks like there's two shift collars, one inside, one outside here. One I suppose is for the low high range, and then the other is for the four-wheel drive. So got that all in there and ready to roll. I got the surface spots cleaned off, got the magnet cleaned off, and up to here I got the sealer put on here. I think I'm going to kind of take my finger and smear it around a little bit. Just want to make sure I've got everything covered here. I got the screen cleaned out. I got the pump on here. That'll be kind of interesting. That's going to be a little bit hairy getting in there. Not that bad, I don't think, but kind of like to get that on there before I start putting the speedo gear and all those snap rings on. Get that where it needs to be. So I've seen people do it both ways. I've seen people wait to let the RTV set up. This stuff doesn't stink. It's a Loctite anaerobic gasket maker, and I guess this is the stuff that the guy at Napa recommended I used. I know Loctite's some pretty good stuff, so there you go. There's the old shaft. I don't see any extra parts laying here, so I think we're golden. There's the old snap ring. Like I said, that wasn't too tough to get off. So there we go. I'm going to smear this on there, and I think I'm just going to pop it on right away and let it sit for an hour. So there you go. What does the gasket maker say? Oh, I can't read it. It's in a different. Okay. It doesn't say anything about how to dry. Oh yeah, prime activate. I didn't get the primer. I used carburetor cleaner and a rag. I'm sure that was totally wrong. So didn't have any brake clean. I would love to use brake clean, or I didn't have any ether either. Ether works good. So there you go. I think I'm ready to throw this thing back together after I smeared the gasket maker around a little bit. On to the next step. Well, it might have been a little easier to do on the bench. Didn't have too much trouble getting this case half back on. I see I got most of these. I don't have a torque wrench that goes down that low, so I'll just use the my own torque wrench and kind of guess on that, on the case half part here. Just have to put, I've got the snap rings on the deal. I got this blue Speedo gear on, and I have, snap rings on. And so what I have left to do here is to let this probably dry a little bit before I do anything on it. And then I have to put the front drive shaft on, I mean the front yoke on, and then I'm going to put the rear yoke on. And I'm going to use my front drive shaft for a while in the back until my new ones come, so I can move the thing around at least, or maybe go somewhere with it if I have to. So anyway, next thing is get the tail part on, and that's probably what you'll see next. Well, there I have everything pretty much together. I have to torque that nut yet, and I have to torque somewhere up in there. Yeah, there you go. That nut that holds that yoke on. So I got this back in place. One thing that they showed in the book, I didn't grab the book for any of this. I just kind of looked it over, and I've been watching so many videos of this from Advanced Adapters. I pretty much knew what was going on as far as what to expect and everything. So anyway, this one here says 32 to 38. I have a 33 tooth gear in there, yellow one, and what that is supposed to line up with this keeper here. It's like a distributor clamp kind of right there, and then they hook that on. I forgot to put this little clip on up here, and I took that off and put that back on. So the only thing left, I have this one loose, I have this one tight. You're supposed to fill this up until it runs out of this one, and probably check it again in about 500 miles just to make sure it didn't go down or anything. So maybe even less than that. Drive it around a little bit and check it. I think I got everything in place. I'm going to be putting that front drive shaft, like I said, up here on this one here until I get my new drive shafts, and I'm kind of excited about that. I'm hoping that it takes care of the vibration I'm getting, and it better. And what I've heard is I can actually eliminate the 1-inch blocks, but I think I'm just going to leave them in there for a nicer day, so to get those out. And I think I might just leave them in there for the heck of it, see what happens. And if it vibrates, take them out and see if it vibrates again. So I don't know if I'm going to have to change the pinion angles. One that concerns me is the front. Maybe what might help is if I did take the blocks out of here. I'm not sure, but the back one seems to be pointing up towards the yoke fairly decent. The back pinion, back axle, and if I can actually put wedges there. As far as I know on these, you can adjust the pinion angle with the control arms or the arms there, but unfortunately I think I am already completely retracted on those. So who knows? Let's see what happens first with the new drive shafts, and then we'll go from there. Well, hopefully this is it. I am probably will throw the drive shaft on and probably take a, or else I might just wait and take a video with the new ones on. I think that's probably what I'll do, and make that a separate video. So hey, thanks for bearing with me here, and give it a whirl. Wish me luck.